the December 11th, 2017 joint public meeting of the Fayette County Area Planning Commission and the Fayette County Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Bev, would you take attendance for both boards,
I was
please?
going to say Brian Jennings,
Present.
Leota King, Frank Jackson, Chad Frank, Warren Sudoff,
Here.
Ruby Seiler, Ed Harrell,
Here.
Jason Waterman,
Here.
Dick O'Neill,
Here.
Bill McDaniels,
Present.
Colin Judd,
Here.
myself, Carrie Steele, Kenny Burgess,
Here.
Bill Crawford,
Here.
Ed Harrell,
Here.
and Jason Waterman again.
I believe we have a quorum for each board. Okay, for APC, on our agenda, we have the approval of minutes. That is a misprint. What we have are the minutes from October 11th, 2017. Those should be at your seat, so I will give you a moment to look at those and then entertain a motion.
Minutes be approved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes for APC October 11th, 2017. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Dick O'Neill has a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes of October 11th, 2017 for the Area Planning Commission signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, minutes are approved.
We need to do the minutes for the Board of Zoning Appeals from our meeting from October 11th as well. So those should all be in front of you if you haven't already received them. So if you've had a chance, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Did you get them? You have the minutes? I make a motion we approve them as presented.
All right, we have a motion, we have and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, minutes approved.
Okay, next on our agenda are the expiring APC and BZA appointments. Bill?
Okay, the citizen appointments that are expiring are Mr. O'Neill and Mr. O'Neill and Mr. Burgess from the County Commissioner's appointment to the BZA. I gave you copies of the letter that I sent to the commissioners and the mayor. If you are both interested in still staying on, please let them know as soon as possible. Okay, and I'd be ecstatically happy to have both of you back.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. I just can't believe I said that, can you?
Not for Dick.
Of course, and Mr. Harrell's appointment to the BZA is always, since he's from the body, is the annual appointment. Okay, Mr. Sudoff is appointed by the commissioners on an annual basis, and this is either the county surveyor or the extension educator. It's an annual appointment, as is Mr. Jennings from the school corporation. And I believe you have some news concerning that.
Yeah, this will be my last meeting with Area Planning Commission. So
Okay.
coming up, I believe, goes to the school board for approval tomorrow, but Stephanie McCann, principal at Maplewood, is on the agenda, so she'll bring some fresh ideas to the board, I'm sure.
Okay, and thank you very much for the last 12 years. Been very, very much appreciated by me, and I'm sure the other board members. Okay.
All right. We have no public hearings this evening, so that takes us to the discussion on sign regulation updates, draft 6. Tonight's discussion focuses on paragraph F, regulations for other signs, through the end of paragraph P, inspections.
And, okay. And, all right. Now, if there's, it's set up as the regulations of other signs, as the individual other types of signs it makes reference to are, first one is incidental signs, accessory ancillary signs less than 4 square feet, allowed without permit. And that also makes reference to the window signs that are not visible from the public right of way. Then we have, the gist of it is regarding the temporary signs, which is as we all know by now, the driving rationale for replacing the sign regulations. Okay, we have the home occupation signs. Then there's the part with the sidewalk signs. Message board, message center signs. And then the next section is on permits. And as Mr. Burgess pointed out last time, I left a couple of things out, which I appreciate, but okay, let's see. Then there's design, construction, and maintenance. Next section, part number 4, would be sign submission requirements. Then we have the signs in the public right of way, and the only ones are the public signs, which are traffic control signs, public directional signs, mileage signs, and so on. Okay, ones that are actually allowed are things like awnings, canopy, and marquee that are projecting over a sidewalk, not over a street. The only types of mounted signs that are allowed in the right-of-way are, there's no private signs that are actually allowed. And as in the current regulations are the county, the city, and then also emphasize the state of Indiana all have the authority to remove those temporary snipe signs that are placed in the right of way. Okay, and that's part of the other signs forfeited. Then we have exempt signs, which are pretty much just exempt signs. Then there's a series of prohibited signs. Okay.
Bill, on prohibited signs on number D, it's on page 40, well, on my 40, it's probably not your 40.
It should be 40, yeah. D.
D.
Yeah. Okay, well, so what, you saying some of my numbering screwed up?
No. On D, it says,
Oh, yeah, down to the bottom, yeah.
it says signs bearing words, phrases, and symbols. You on that one?
Well, I have accessory incidental signs on private property, kiosk entrance signs, menu information signs on D.
I think he's looking at this one.
Oh, prohibited signs.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
On D,
Yes.
that last sentence, it says, or confuses drivers, thereby increasing the risk of between vehicle and pedestrian.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that's supposed to be in between there.
There's no word.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it's not.
Risk of injury, maybe?
Risk of collision.
Collision.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Okay. Okay, then it's the general, after that, there's the general permit procedures. Then installation of signs, then we have temporary signs with, when they require permits. Then there's the time of compliance, then there's the violation section. All violations are enforcement remedies, and then the fee schedule. So any questions, comments about any of these parts in addition to Mr. Crawford's correction for me? But in any cases, if there's something that missed we haven't talked about, is send me an email that, Bill, you missed something, or this isn't clear. So any additional comments or anything, please just send me an email, that's fine. And, well, it actually gets into the first part of the annual plan for next year. But what I would like to do is, part of it would be to give the new members, get up to speed if there's any new member, well, at least one new member. If there's someone appointed instead of Mr. O'Neill or Mr. Burgess, if I can get them up to speed. So what I would like to do then is have an actual full public meeting, and then I need to get the copies of it printed on, online for people to review, both the statement of why, the current sign regulations, and then the replacement regulations. And then the public meeting, I want to go until February for that, and then in March, then have the public hearing.
Can we contact Carrie before the next meeting and try to push her to be here?
Yeah.
Because I think that sometimes she said she'd forget, so.
Yeah.
Any other discussion from members of the board on the sign regulations? Okay, hearing none. Bill, you want to tell us about the preliminary 2018?
Okay, so once again, I know this, you're just seeing this, but it's things we've discussed in the past. So so any other comments you have in the meantime with these, that be appreciated, your concerns or comments or anything that you might be familiar with along these lines, such as it was a few years ago where brought up the idea of something to clear up the lack of clarity concerning city chins. And and the idea is to, primarily it's it's an accessory use, and it'd be say for the chickens, possibility of things like the miniature meat and dairy goats, and urban beekeeping. So make all those clear, what is allowed, what isn't, and then this sets the actual rules. But I think this is in one case right there is, since these would be an accessory use, but I think these are ones to ensure that there is an inspection and we have a record of these. I think most of you understand my reticence for, really permits for a lot of things aren't really necessary. But I think this is one where to make sure that, number one, they set where they say they're going to, and all the setbacks are met, say from property lines and then also from neighboring dwellings. And so I think that's where we would with those. Then as we start working on those, and we can have more discussion whether it's to really whether or not some of these might be appropriate or not, or what size some of these might be appropriate, because I get maybe last few years I think I've got maybe 3 requests concerning urban bees, and but as we really didn't have any standard, is I've never visited, so I don't know what sort of, it's best management practices, and they're members of the apiary, I think, the Apiary Association. So I suspect that they have the requirements as far as the distance. You have vertical structure, at least 6 feet, for bees to go over, requirements for having water on the property. Regularly have requests and questions about chickens in residential areas. And so as long as they're not running loose, or it's a small number of animals and they're meant for actual eggs, and there's no roosters, I personally think that's it's appropriate. I think I've told people in the past, is when my mother grew up during the Depression, their primary meat source was rabbits. Of course, she never ate rabbits again after that, because she ate too many of them, but things along those lines. Then there's something in here, I think also to make clear that, as we discussed one time, to make it clear that, okay, things like rabbit hutches, because it's one of the more frequent things that some of the more city kids tend to have with 4-H projects, or things like rabbits. So we don't want to, because right now technically the way it's written is a kid with a rabbit hutch is in violation of the zoning code. And so then it's to work in things within the city, say some of the, some kids are learning about, say, some sort of farm animals, that this might be an appropriate way with allowing them to have these under, certain conditions, that this is how you have to do it. And the third one is to, Kenny and I have talked about this for a long time, is to finally complete modernizing the home occupation and the home-based rules, business rules. And because a lot of the work is done, it's just a matter of hopefully nothing, hopefully me not having a, look, squirrel moment.
Hey, Bill, from going in houses with the occupation I was in before, I've noticed that several of them had like I forget what they're called now, but they're small pigs is what they are. They stay small. What are they called?
Potbelly pigs.
Potbelly pigs, yeah. I've ran into those at houses and,
Yeah, they live in the house. Yeah.
they're allowed, that's okay.
Well, that's, if you look technically the way it's written, is like, technically it's like, no, but if someone has it in their house, you don't really know. But it's the idea is you base it on the actual size of it. Yeah, so there's things to work out. There's also a lot of examples of ordinances that are out there. Some which I've seen that tend to go overboard, is the 4, and so also in the 4-H office, they also regularly get not just requests for kids for 4-H, but they regularly also get questions about chickens, meat and milk goats, and then also the bees. So they also get a lot of questions with those. And so they've been very helpful for helping me also get some of the different ordinances from around the state.
Like with chickens, that's something we almost need to promote. It's
Oh.
something that, if it's done right, it's a good thing for the community.
Oh,
And for
absolutely, absolutely.
And bees too, if there's room for bees. They bring in bees from Florida, and I went to a pollinator class
Yeah.
here just not too long ago, and they have to bring them in for all the crops, all about that, and then they send them out to California and bring them back because there's just not bees like there used to be. So,
Yep. So if you can develop an urban bee population, might help me with growing my tomatoes in town.
So regulation isn't to do away with things, it's to just be prepared.
Yeah, it's to make clear that you can do things. We know people are doing some of these things, but you can do things, but this is how you need to do them so that they aren't a nuisance.
Under control.
Yeah.
Regulate.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, also, I think it'd be nice to have the information on really, the importance of it, for example, is, well, number one, there's a growing importance for various reasons for people with, raising eggs at home. So it's then as far as the things with, sources of protein, things along those lines.
The biggest thing with chickens,
No roosters.
roosters, so.
Okay, any comments or anything in the meantime about those so like I said, any thoughts, any comments, any ideas along the lines related to these as we're going through this, or even before I start on these, is the more the merrier. There's no other questions on that?
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, and, yeah, all those things need to be, yeah. I didn't have it on there, but I think at some point in time, we have time toward the end of the year, we might want to look at then starting the public discussion of the, fees that reflect the cost of the service. Because other departments in the county have certainly raised fees over time, and the Area Plan Commission certainly should do so also. Because otherwise, the service is getting subsidized by people who aren't doing special things, aren't building houses.
Any other discussion from either board on the plan for 2018? Okay, for the Area Plan Commission, next on our agenda is acceptance of the director's report.
I move to accept as presented.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the director's report. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. O'Neill. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of accepting the director's report for December, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Okay, director's report is accepted.
The area point, or the, sorry, Board of Zoning Appeals needs to also deal with the director's report, so I'll entertain a motion from that board.
So moved. Accept.
You know, second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, last thing on our agenda. So at this time, if there is no further discussion, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. O'Neill,
Second.
for the second. All in favor of adjourning the joint public meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same, or any opposed. Meeting is adjourned.